Sir.
रघु 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 आना। ये कैसा डाउन हो रहा, नीचे जा रही शकल, ऊपर उठ। अच्छा प्रमोद आ गया। प्रमोद इसे थोड़ा सा हाई अप करना पड़ेगा। मेरी गर्दन वो कह रहे झुकनी नहीं चाहिए।
Hello, sir. Hello.
Sir, join it.
Yes, sir. Join it. Sir, join it.
Start. Start. You should start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to one and all. Sir, can you switch on the video, sir? Professor Anil Sastry, sir. So please switch on the video.
My video is already on, but it is not showing.
Okay.
It is switched on.
Okay, sir. You can see you, sir. Great, sir. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you. Welcome to this national webinar on leadership in higher and technical education to promote innovation and startup culture within college campuses. I, on behalf of Engineering Staff Club of India, I would like to invite the presiding officer for the day, Engineer Narendra Singh, sir, the President of Institution of Engineers India, and the Fellow of Institution of Engineers India. I also take the opportunity to invite the Chairman, Governing Council, Engineering Staff Club of India, Dr. S. Nagabhushan Rao, sir, and the Director of Engineering Staff Club of India, Dr. G. Ramesh Rao, sir, and the Chief Guest for the day. Sir, we are very proud and honored to have you on this national webinar being organized for the academic faculty members, students, and also industries. On this occasion, I would like to invite you for this national webinar on leadership in higher and technical education to promote innovation and startup culture within college campuses. And also take the opportunity to invite all the participants across the country. Thank you all for participating, and let us start this national webinar with a prayer song.
आदर्शों को मिलकर करें नमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। जोड़े नदियाँ सेतु बनाए, शहर गाँव का भेद मिटाए। तकनीकी शिक्षा का दीपक विश्व के हर कोने में जलाए। ऊर्जा के अक्षय स्रोतों से मरुस्थल को भी करें चमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। अनवरत प्रशिक्षण से हम अपनी कार्य कुशलता बढ़ाएं। यातायात संचार में उन्नत प्रौद्योगिकी को अपनाएं। नैसर्गिक हो या औद्योगिक आपदाओं का करें शमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। विश्वेश्वरैया जी के आदर्शों को मिलकर करें नमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन।
Thank you all. Now let me request the Director of Engineering Staff Club of India, Dr. G. Rameshwara sir, to present the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Chief Guest, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman, AICTE, New Delhi. Engineer Narendra Singh Ji, President, Institution of Engineers, India. Dr. S.N. Rao, Chairman, Governing Council, ISKI. Engineer Kishore, Senior Faculty Head and Faculty Division, ISKI. Distinguished participants, council members, past President, past Chairman, and budding engineers from all over the country. On behalf of Engineering Staff College of India, I deem it a great privilege to extend a hearty, warm welcome to the Chief Guest, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman AICTE, and our Engineer Narendra Singh Ji, President, Institution of Engineers India, and all our esteemed participants in this webinar, National Webinar on Leadership in Higher and Technical Education to promote the innovations and startup culture within the college campuses. It is an honor bestowed on Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman, who has very kindly and spontaneously conveyed his consent to grace this function and share his rich experience advices in this webinar. The entire world looks to higher education to provide direction and leadership in the areas such as technological advancement and economic development. Education is the only one sector which has universally interface and it is impact all other sectors. Thus, leadership in the area of education, particularly in STEM domain, make a vital difference to human resource development and improved employment opportunities and enhance of the income and optimum utilization of available resources, such as enlightening the leadership will provide a big boost to productivity through innovations. The creativity and innovations are crucial to improve the methods of working and to generate better results, both in physical and financial terms. Creativity relates to idea that works and new thinking that potential to throw up the better results, while innovation refers to the doing things differently, innovation phases and new news in education. Startup culture and the entire ecosystem, startups requires the favorable policies from the government, supports from supporting facilities and sound infrastructure and financial incentives and incubation services and monitoring and handholding and tax abates are important to give the big boost to the startups. Raw material support and marketing support, and also vital to sustain the growth movement in all setup must receive the total support from the government and the promotional agencies at least for the 5 years. It is the ideal to encourage the students of the technical institutions and business schools to convert their creativity ideas into the innovation startup while they are on the campus itself. The support system in place of the campus will improve the success rate of the startup units, the available infrastructure, and the on top faculty guidance will also be very handy for the aspiring the highly motivated students entrepreneurs. The risk of the failure are also minimized, and the adverse consequences and unfortunate mortality, if any, are mitigated. The concept of the campus startup is gaining popular acceptance across the institutions of higher learning all over the world. We in India should not lag behind promoting startups, in promoting entrepreneurship. When promoting entrepreneurship is the surely way of creating the health and generating the employment. The Startup India, Stand Up India is a clarion call mission of the Honorable Prime Minister of India. The other two key missions of our nation, that is Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, will also be stimulated and aroused by promoting the entrepreneurial culture on the campuses of the technical and higher education institutions in our country. These institutions thus act as a innovative and creative and impulsion to transfer the nation to take up the higher heights. This will be one of the pillar that enables India surpass the target of becoming a $5 trillion economy within the shortest possible frame time. In this background, today's topic is apt as a roadmap for the talented young engineers who dreams of being entrepreneurs. We have today Professor Anil Dattatreya Sahabudro, Chairman and AICTE. Sir, the engineering Iski proposed to begin introduce the latest and most sought after the specialization in engineering in the undergraduate streams. Those include the robotic and dynamic artificial intelligence, engineering management, and education technology, recycling and sustainable engineering, automation engineering, etc. The AICTE should recognize ISKI as a global agency for conducting faculty development programs for the engineering colleges and polytechnics in the country. ISKI also facilitate the industry and institute interaction, leverage it is already existing interface. The ISKI is ready to willing to take up the incubation centers to nurture the new technologies and to help promote the startup units. ISKI can also be campaign to introduce new technologies both in academic and industry, such as campaigning can go over the 3D printing, nanotechnology, IoT, safety engineering, and environmental engineering, energy, fuel efficiency technology, outer space technology, cyber technologies, biomedical engineering, and transport engineering, sir. So this is our view, sir. And also, we recently started the mining division in our ISKI division, ISKI campus, sir, for training classes. These few words, I once again extend to hearty welcome to the chief guest and president and all of you for this important event. Thank you and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. G. Rameshwara, sir, the Director of Engineering Staff College of India, for presenting the welcome address. Thank you very much, sir. Now, let me welcome Dr. S. Nagabhushan Rao, sir, the Fellow of Institution of Engineers India, the Chairman, Governing Council, Engineering Staff College of India, to address the gathering.
If you all address, I will not be available, I am telling you, because I have to go to the other meeting by 10:30.
Yeah, let me welcome
President.
Let me welcome the President, Engineer Narendra Singh, sir.
If you are asking all of them to speak, then I am out. I have told several times that I have another meeting at 10:30.
I request the Chairman, All India Council for Technical Education, to address the gathering, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Otherwise, I would be out from here. Dr. Narendra Singh, President IEI, Dr. Nagabhushan Rao, Dr. Rameshwar Rao, Sai Kishore and all others from Engineering Staff College of India as well as Institution of Engineers members for here, faculty, staff. This is a very important workshop or seminar where we are discussing about promoting innovation, startup culture in the colleges and universities. Thereby, we create leaders from first amongst the institution faculty themselves, and then beyond that, in terms of the students who are graduating, also become leaders in this domain. That is the whole motive behind the various programs initiated by the Government of India. In fact, all of you are aware that Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, right in the first Independence Day speech, started off with very important two initiatives. That was first one was that of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and immediately in the same breath, he also talked about Startup India and Stand Up India. I think beyond that, immediately taking it forward, government in the very first year itself, on January the 16th, 2016, came forward with a very, very important policy initiative for what is known as a startup policy for young entrepreneurs. And AICT, without losing time, immediately consulted various faculty members and vice chancellors and constituted a committee which was headed by one of the very prominent vice chancellors of Gujarat Technical University, who had already spearheaded to start some kind of initiative in entrepreneurship. And under his chairmanship, we had the startup policy of AICT announced in the very same year. Government of India announced for January 16. November 16, AICT's startup policy was launched by Pranab Mukherjee, the then President of India, from the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So in the same year, we also had our own startup policy encouraging the movement of innovation, entrepreneurship, startups from the campuses. But in the first 2 years of its implementation, we found there are a lot of loopholes. And under another chairmanship of Dr. Ashok Jhunjhunwala, professor from IIT Madras, who has created Research Park in IIT Madras, we had another committee which came forward with few changes in the earlier policy, and this policy was not necessarily only for engineering colleges, but for all higher education institutions, whether it is a university having arts, commerce, science domain, law, medicine, engineering, it is valid for all of them. And there are several key initiatives under this policy, whereby like faculty members get sabbatical leave for about a year, once in 6 years in most of the institutions, for pursuing their own goals. Similarly, a student who joins a program, maybe of engineering of 4-year duration, within that time, if he or she gets an idea of converting that idea into an entrepreneurial venture, we must provide a 1-year sabbatical leave for a student as well. So the 4-year program may extend to 5 or 6 years, doesn't matter. Give leave for students so that they will try to put in all their efforts during that year in order to become a successful entrepreneur while being student themselves. And if you look at some of the most successful entrepreneurs globally, they all were in fact school dropouts. They never completed their degrees. Whether you take the case of Microsoft or Apple, their CEOs were all dropouts from the college. They never completed the degree. So in India, such an ethos never existed, and therefore this particular policy, which was launched in 2019 by the HRD Minister, Sri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, that time we said that we must have this kind of an opportunity for our students in order to gain experience in entrepreneurial venture while they are students. Secondly, in all the colleges, we have advocated that there must be courses related with entrepreneurship. That means he may be a civil engineering student or an electrical engineering or a mechanical engineering student, but if there are some electives where how a business plan is created, how a brilliant idea can be converted into a possible product or a process, how through mentoring he will be in a position to fine-tune the idea in terms of creating a product, in terms of how do you do market survey, understand the needs of the persons for whom you are creating that product. Many times we have an idea and we feel that my idea is great and we want to do it and we want to implement it. We may do it well, but because there is no demand for that, that particular idea fails. And so customer satisfaction, customer needs are very important, and therefore students have to learn about conducting market survey, or you can say the requirement survey from the stakeholders for whom you are trying to create the product. And then based on that, you may have to change your idea a little bit, your product, your process, thereby whatever finally comes out will have validity in the market and your business will start off. And why not have some kind of a elective where students, if they are successfully able to convert their idea into a product, can be treated as a 3 credit or a 5 credit course, and in the process whatever they had in mind, they are in a position to successfully implement. And there are certainly grades are required to be given for every course. That is what is there. And we have also narrated that there is an examination reforms policy of AICTE. If you have to spur innovation in the campuses, we have to first start from changing the attitude of faculty members, leaders, and the students. And for this, first the leaders should understand, and that's why this program, where we are talking about leadership development, that means heads of the department, the principals, the director, the vice chancellors, first they have to be on board. They have to have this attitude change in terms of what is required for the nation. If talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat, of course, prior to that, our Prime Minister started, as I said, with Swachh Bharat, Make in India, Startup India, Digital India, and all of these are connected with each other. And if we have to finally successfully make our country Atmanirbhar, it has to start from college level, it has to start from the school level, it has to start from the village level, and only then the whole country can become Atmanirbhar. And in that essence, and that's why, as I repeatedly saying, that we need to create an atmosphere in the institutions, and that comes from one significant change which we are advocating of, that of examination reforms. In the examination from our KG till the PG education, forget about PhD, of course, naturally you have to do something new in a PhD program. Without that, you will not get a thesis certified and you will not get a PhD degree. You have to publish a couple of innovative new research publications. But forget PhD, in all other domains, right from KG to PG, our question papers are all based on rote learning. Someone can remember some of the content of the textbook, and he reproduces and gets the maximum marks. And there are not necessarily in only colleges, but even at the school level, there are jokes that if a student writes in his own words a different sentence other than that what is written in the notes or that is in the textbook, many a times a student gets sometimes less marks to 0 marks. And that is the character that we need to change. And therefore, question papers, instead of based on rote learning, based on what is written in the textbook, the understanding of that concept is more important. So the questions have to be based on what is that the product, what is that theory, why has it come, from where it has come, which kind of inputs are required, what is the usefulness of that formulae. All of that has to be understood by the student, and then he must be in a position to apply it. And that's why, whether it is analytical thinking and analytical ability, critical thinking, considering problem and understanding the problem, dividing the problem into its significant different parts, trying to find solution, connecting the dots, all of this is very important in our question papers. And therefore, such question papers need not be of 3-hour standard duration, which our universities are following today. You may have an open book examination. You may give a challenging problem statement and ask a student or a group of students also, if necessary, to put in their efforts, come out with a solution for that problem. May it take 10 hours, 12 hours, doesn't matter. They would have all put in their learning in terms of reading books, looking at internet, finding information, and finding out which is most relevant, trying to adopt it, trying to put in place. If they are able to do all of that, they are the real successful people in this society later. And that's why our examination should depend on the innovation, the creativity that the students are able to bring to the table. So our examination reforms is the first step. And to understand the examination reforms, our leadership should understand all of this. Secondly, some of you, Dr. Ameshwar Rao was referring to different types of training which is required to be given to the teachers in the emerging areas. AICTE is seized of the matter. One of the towering leaders of the industry, as well as the chairman of the board of governors of IIT Hyderabad. You are all aware, our Reddy Garu, he was the chairman of this committee. And B.V. Mohan Reddy ji gave us an idea that your normal engineering programs today do not have any value either for the employment purpose or for creating entrepreneurs from out of them. And that's why there were 9 areas which were subscribed by this team, and the programs have to be based on them. They are artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, cloud computing, cyber security, and we continue to add not just in the domain of electronics, computer science, but also in the domain of, say, civil engineering, geoinformatics, GIS systems, which are very important. Using the data of ISRO or satellite map, you will be in a position to create many applications which are useful to society. And therefore, it is not necessarily only in the domain of electronics and computer. There are emerging areas even in civil engineering, in mechanical engineering, in electrical engineering, and all of them are put together. And we have said from last year onwards itself that if any student wants to, or any college wants to adopt this, they are welcome. And we have created a standard curriculum. Having created a curriculum which has the content of AI, IoT, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, 3D printing, cloud computing, cyber security, teachers themselves who graduated 10, 20, 30 years ago were not aware of all of this. A few sample faculty here and there in IITs, IISc do exist, but in industry there are a large number of people who continuously have to learn and adapt. And so using our Atal Academy, AICT's Training and Learning, ATAL, Atal Academies, we have started training not just thousands, 10,000s, but we have already trained through 800 programs. They were all online programs, 5-day full duration workshops where there were people, experts drawn from best of the institutions like IITs, IISc of India, but also people from abroad. Because fortunately, unlike in the pre-pandemic era where we used to conduct these workshops in the face-to-face mode and only around 50 faculty were allowed to join these programs, with the use of technology today 200, 300 people also can join on Zoom or Microsoft or WebEx or any of these platforms, and we can train simultaneously 200, 300 faculty. And earlier we used to have 2 or 3 faculty coming there as the experts. Today experts can be drawn from anywhere, from US, from Canada, from Germany, from France, from Italy, from the Switzerland, to from Japan, to the eastern side, Australia also, and all of them with some time zone difference. You can adjust the timetable in a manner that such faculty, such industry experts from anywhere in the world are able to train our faculty. And I'm very happy to announce that our target was 1.5 lakh teachers to be trained from out of 1,000 workshops. We have already conducted 800 workshops. We have already trained 1,25,000 faculty in all these emerging areas. So that is number one. This is where the innovation starts spurring out. And our students, through these faculty who are trained, will be in a position to give them their years. And this years is very important. Years is not YEARS, but EARS, that is listening to our students. You know, the students have very brilliant out of the box ideas, and I have found many a times students through internet, through different mechanisms, learn many things which our teachers also do not know. So when such students come to the class and say that they have some brilliant idea, instead of saying that you concentrate on your examination, your coursework, if you encourage, and that is the role of leadership, they will be able to do a lot of innovative activity through which they will be in a position to create products which are useful for not only themselves to create, becoming an entrepreneur or creating a startup. They will give jobs for 10 or 20 people. Subsequently, some of them will emerge as successful companies leading to even 100, 200, 500 employees. And there are concrete examples which have come out in the last 2-3 years itself. And India, which stood in the International Innovation Index at the 81st position about 5 years ago, today we are at 48th position. We have crossed about half the way mark from 81 to 48. We have come in the 40s, and our potential, the way we are moving ahead, should be in the top 20, top 10 within a couple of years more. And that's why Ministry's innovation cell, which was established in AICTE, because of our experience of conducting what is known as Smart India Hackathons, we have an experience of now 4 years giving problems which are challenges for our students at undergraduate level. And some of these problems which the government departments were not able to solve, some of the MSMEs and big industries were not able to solve, such problems were given to our young students of second, third year. And by coming out with some brilliant ideas, shortlisting them, we have conducted 4 hackathons, 36-hour long, non-stop working by students, and such products which have come out of the hackathons are now implemented by different government departments, different companies, and many of them have converted themselves into startups. So we already have what is known as incubators through Department of Science and Technology, through Atal mission, that is Niti Aayog. All of these may be scattered all over the country. Maybe every institution may not have an incubator, but the mandate given to all of these institutions where this incubator is set up by giving funding from 10 to 13 crore of rupees by DST and the Niti Aayog, the mandate is not only your own college students, but any student from your nearby area, from other colleges, must also be supported for encouragement, and then in terms of converting them into entrepreneurs through the startup mechanism. AICTE on its part has many awards in terms of Chhatra Vishwakarma Award. We have a Smart, Clean, Green Campus Award. Through all of this, when we identify young talent which has potential to convert itself into a great startup, AICTE is funding up to the initial fund of 10 lakh rupees. And out of that, if they are able to get much more business and convert themselves into startups, there may be further angel funding. There will be possibly funding from the startup mission of the Government of India. There could be Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology funding available. So my young graduating students, the opportunities are plenty. And especially after the pandemic, the whole world economy, when it has gone down, the only country where you can now find more foreign investment coming in would be India from all of those countries, and they're all struggling. And so the opportunities that exist for our young students when they are in the college itself is so enormous that you can create companies when you are in the second year or third year. And our leaders in the academic institutions like directors, principals have a role to play listening to them. So this listening is a very important skill which our leadership has to adopt. And my only simple example which I would like to quote, and I quote many a times, is my one young student of first year engineering from civil engineering went to IIT Bombay for internship when I was director in College of Engineering Pune. And this Bhaviskar came back and said he would like to develop a nano satellite, and then we would want that ISRO should launch it. A young boy of first year, when he comes, normally a principal or director of the institute will say, you are still in first year, you have a long way to go, first concentrate on your civil engineering, become a graduate, then think about it. But I said, well, good idea, but you cannot do it alone, develop a team. You are in first year, you have to get people from even second year, third year, you have to convince them. Normally the seniors, they all dominate in an engineering college, whereas a first year student contacting second, third year students, creating a team of some 16, 18 people drawn from electronics, computer science, electrical, mechanical engineering, although he was a civil engineering student, and starting off the work, funding was not there, contacting alumni, getting fund, no teacher was having expertise in this. They all studied through internet, contacting people on email, and then they developed that satellite all on their own. I am aware that there are institutions who have also created their own satellites and which has been launched by ISRO, but I am very proud that they all had to hire someone of some nature where they had an experience in satellites. But this college, which has no person of that nature, all student-driven project culminated in what is known as ISRO not only launching it, but they showed to their scientists that this is an ideal model, because the students, after a meeting with any ISRO scientist, when they were reviewing our project, immediately they used to write the minutes of the meeting and action to be taken, and within no time they were also communicating to ISRO about the way forward for that. ISRO scientist, one who was associated with none other than Mars mission, he has commented that ISRO scientists, please learn from students. And that is where students' strength lies. So our faculty members and leaders have to appreciate the talent that exists in our institutions, in our students, give them encouragement, pat on their back, give them whatever little support in terms of finances is required, and then mentoring them. And when chips are down, giving them psychological counseling and support. If you do that, all our students have great talent and they will convert themselves into entrepreneurs, create systems, support systems, create new products which will be not only useful for India to become Atmanirbhar, but we can start exporting some of these things. Our students can go all over the world and create a happy society, not only in India, but all over the world. And that is the spirit with which our leadership needs to work. And I hope my time is just over 10:30. So thank you very much for inviting me, and the others may continue to speak. I have a meeting from 10:30 to 11:30, 11:45. Till then, if your seminar is continuing, I can come back, and then probably we will have some question answers. But of course, if you extend up to the 11:30, 12 o'clock, otherwise, my best wishes for you, all the students and faculty members. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now let me request Engineer Narendra Singh, sir, the Fellow of
Just
Institute
5
of
minutes for
National
Narendra Singh
President,
will talk, sir.
to give his remarks.
Unmute, sir. Narendra Singh, sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Sir, you can unmute yourself, sir. President, sir. President, sir, you can unmute yourself. President, sir, you can unmute, sir, please. Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Can able to
Yes,
hear
Hello.
you. Yes, sir.
Hello. Good
Yes, sir.
morning to everybody. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
It was nice to hear Sasmudeji. Like anything, the mind and the brain of students is sometimes more appreciable than the teachers and the bosses, because their mind is never creative. They have gained the experience only, and the students have the creative mind in beginning. I feel it is the best way to learn and to teach. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You continue, sir.
I'm getting hello.
Yes, sir. We can able to hear you, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Unmute me. Hello.
Already unmuted, sir. Please talk, sir. We are able to hear, sir.
Okay. Now I'll like to tell something about institution and all. Hello.
Yes, sir. Able
Unmute.
to hear, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Anil Srivastava. He has gone, although Chairman Aicte and eminent speaker of today on national webinar on leadership in higher and technical education to promote the innovation and startup culture within the college campus. This is a very, very relevant subject in today's scenario. It is needy subject. It should go ahead, and our training should go ahead. Aicte has to adopt this pattern also. I welcome Engineer G.L. Rao, past president, Engineer Prabhakar ji, past president, Sudhakar ji, our council member, Satyanarayan ji, past chairman, S.N. Rao ji, chairman, governing council, Dr. Rameshwar Rao, director, Aicte, delegates, faculties, students, and other dignitaries present in this webinar. On behalf of Institution of Engineers, which is the largest professional organization of engineers in India. As we all aware that II has successfully completed 100 years of its establishment in 2020, but we could not celebrate our centenary functions physically due to COVID difficult pandemic condition. Even then, We managed our all programs in virtual platform in befitting manners. We know Government of India has taken several steps and lead to ensure challenges and threats due to COVID pandemic. The engineers of our country have joined hands together with the scientists and medical professionals to provide probable solution to this complex problem. I am happy to inform that II has received more than 200 papers to discuss this complex problem during 35th Engineering Congress. In 1935, George V of England accorded prestigious Royal Charter to II. By virtue of it, we engineers attached to this organization are known as charter engineers. II provides a wide range of technical, professional and other relevant services to the government, industries, academia and engineering fraternity through conveniently located its 125 centers and 6 overseas chapters. For the cause of the development, II also provide education programs, awareness generation activities on contemporary issues, continuous professional development and publication at large level. During the long journey, II has established 6 forums which are geographically located at the primary locations of our country, and one of autonomous fora is namely Engineering Staff College, where we are having this webinar, is uh, has been established at Hyderabad. Specific development agenda of ongoing technical education to our field engineers, skill training to our budding engineers, and master's degree in infrastructure management to the bachelor degree holders. So this way, ASCII is doing a lot of activities in Hyderabad. We as engineers have always been instrumental in changing the world and spirit in the result of hard and undying spirit innovation and creativity, which will continue to change the world in many centuries to come. Now, available source resources seems to be insufficient for the survival of mankind. We engineers have to proactive and self-motivated to accept the present challenges and come forward to design most economical and viable technologies to generate employment, enhance skill and entrepreneurship in every walk of our life. The need of hour is that engineers should create self-reliance of every individual with sustainable goals, whether it is agriculture or any manufacturing sector. It should be with a goal of self-community, self-reliance. It is a general complaint among young engineers that they don't have job for them. By saying this, they mean that there is no government jobs for them. If the engineers have diversity to their sustainable career, they will not only self-reliant but also contribute towards the GDP of our country. आज अनेकों विद्यार्थी इंजीनियर बन रहे हैं, परंतु वह एम्प्लॉयमेंट की खोज में इधर उधर भटकते रहते हैं। वे ज्यादातर नौकरियों की ओर प्रेरित रहते हैं तथा समाज में यह भ्रामकता रहती है कि आज इंजीनियरिंग का कोई भविष्य नहीं है, कोई नौकरी नहीं मिल रही है। लेकिन the budding engineer should think that sustainable goal with the aim of startup and becoming employer, they should think of becoming employer instead of becoming an employee. Innovation and self-reliance are key factors for startup culture. Engineers should also play key role in the policy and development level. Sustainable development goal can be achieved by self-collective efforts of engineers. India needs roughly 10 million jobs every year to achieve $5 trillion economy in the next 5 years, which cannot be fulfilled by the existing large entrepreneurship alone. Startup can act as an vehicle to achieve the next level of economy growth and social development. The National Innovation and Startup Policy 2019 for students and faculty for higher education institution is guiding framework to enable the institute to activity to engage the students, faculties, and staff innovation and entrepreneurship related activities. I'm sure that today's deliberations will have and will pay the way of developing and promoting the startup culture across the technical education institutions of India so that India could achieve its objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat. मैं एक हिंदी में 2 लाइन लिखी हैं वो कहना चाहूंगा नालंदा और तक्षशिला में ज्ञान की गंगा बहती थी भारत ही है केंद्र ज्ञान का दुनिया सारी कहती थी नवाचार व उद्यमिता की ज्योति फिर से जलाएंगे आओ अभियंताओं मिलकर आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाएंगे आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाएंगे with these few words I conclude my address. Wish you all the best and happy new year. Thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful insight about the Institution of Engineers India, Engineering Staff College of India, and how the leadership plays a key role in this higher and technical education in the country. So with this word, thank you so much for your wonderful time that you have spent with us and the audience who have been joined across the country, sir. Thank you. And this session will go on till 1 hour. So now I request Dr. S.N. Rao, sir, the Chairman, Governing Council, Institution of Engineers India, Engineering Staff College of India, to address the gathering, please. So please unmute.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Kishore. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Professor Sahasrabuddhe in absentia, and Engineer Narendra Singh ji and Dr. Rameshwar Rao and all the past presidents and past chairmen of the state centers and council members and all distinguished guests. It's a privilege for me to join here in this webinar addressed by the most leading personalities in engineering, Professor Sahasrabuddhe. And I'm really happy to listen to him, who has covered the entire campus of the need for the technical education and the innovations that are necessary at the college level itself. First of all, if we think about education, it is a process of acquiring knowledge. So technical education is a bit above that to acquire technical knowledge. More important is knowledge induction, which takes place in the educational institutions, engineering colleges. So innovation in this process is necessary, and innovation doesn't come through the imparting of just the syllabus in the classrooms and making them to pass examinations, as said by Professor Sahasrabuddhe. And leadership is one which is talked about in the engineering colleges. It is necessary to induce the inquisitiveness and zeal among the students. And this doesn't just come from the imparting the lessons through the syllabus only. The seeds have to be sown, which will take the roots and then become a big trees, which is and gives the fruits of innovation. So this is what normally we are not able to see in the colleges, and that is where the need and necessity has been felt now, though late, but happy to note that the Aicte is also taking care of it. And the leadership qualities, if we talk about, there should be clarity, integrity, a vision, decisiveness, courage to take decisions, a passion and a humility. So these are the qualities which we do not find in the syllabus of engineering student. So these are to be induced, to be added to the teaching profession in the colleges, which gives them an idea about leadership, an idea about how to proceed. And then, as our President Sri Narendra Singh ji said, most of the students are worried about their future career and employment. That's a very vital issue. We have to discuss about it. Entrepreneurship is being encouraged, but what percentage of the students can get into this? Because this entrepreneurship depends on so many issues, like the environment around us, a social environment, economical environment, and political environment. They should also gel with the system, and then only they can get the entrepreneurship and the startups, etc., etc. So these are the issues which are imbibed in this very thought of making the students to think about the innovations and also to become themselves as entrepreneurs, as employers instead of employees. So these issues are to be discussed at length, and I think AICT has recognized, and they can make use of the services at Aicte, which has been striving since long, not only with the germination of these ideas. Since long, we have been trying how to introduce the new concepts, new innovations through the continuous development programs, and making the engineers who are serving to update themselves in the technology. So these are the issues that have been covered in this webinar. I'm very happy, extremely happy to participate in this, and given me an opportunity to address on this issue. I thank Dr. Ramesh Rao and the team of Aicte to have thought of this and invited Professor Sahasra Buddhe, who can also think about using the services of Aicte in future. With these few words, thank you very much. I thank the Aicte team for providing me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. S.N. Rosa, the Chairman, Governing Council, Engineering Staff Club of India, for addressing. Thank you very much, sir. So we'll be continuing with this session, and also we'll be looking forward for your continual support. Thank you so much. And let me give a small introduction about Engineering Staff Club of India, an organ of Institution of Engineers India. So it is established in 1981 at Hyderabad by Institution of Engineers, the largest professional body of engineers, surrounded by serene environment with a state-of-the-art infrastructure. Primary objective is to impart training for working professionals, engineers, and executives. World Bank funded and ministry funded programs in 15 engineering disciplines. And TechUp 3 and Higher Education Department funded programs also we take up. So these are the different functionalities of Engineering Staff Club of India, I should say. The training domains, projects and consultancy, research and development, School of Postgraduate Studies, wherein we take up PGDM Infrastructure Management and PGDM General Management. Under training domains, we have climate change, environment management, power energy, water resources, civil transportation engineering, management technology, quality and productivity, skill development cell, information technology, and design and prototyping center. So these are the different domains, training domains. And under project and consultancy, we take up third-party quality control and quality assurance. And under research and development, we have a Center for Climate Change and other departments, wherein we do design and prototyping, where a lot of prototyping activities through the incubation as well as the startups. And School of Postgraduate Studies, where we have a PG Diploma in Infrastructure Management and PGDM General Management. It's a 2-year diploma course in which the engineering graduates, after graduating from BE or BTech, they join this infrastructure management, where we have the different specializations relating to power, civil, transportation, and telecom. And we also have a PGDM General Management, where we have human resource, HR, finance, and operations and marketing. So, and also different areas where we have been covering. This is a practical oriented course, I should say. And we have the students across the country joining this course from different places. And at Hyderabad, we got around 70 acres of campus where we have the School of Postgraduate Studies, under which these courses have been run. And these admissions are open for these two courses. It is an industry-driven course and very good placements. At the same time, the internship opportunity for the students which we have, as well as we have industry academia collaboration, as well as internationally and globally recognized universities addressing to the students. And we have the incubation and entrepreneurship center, which is named as a design and prototyping center, where the students can able to practice the innovation, startup, as well as the incubation related activities. So this is about the training domains and project and consultancy and co-innovation. So glimpses of our recent student, staff, and faculty development programs, which we have taken up in the recent past. The John Cabot University, Italy, and University of Michigan, we able to organize one startup conclave, international startup conclave, for which around more than 200 participants across the country they participated, and industry academia interaction program, wherein with the support of around 11 industries, corporate companies, as well as different startups, and as well as PSUs, I should say. This interaction program was done, and tremendous response we had. Very good partnerships also we happen to have during this national workshop. And Engineering Staff Club of India has entered a strategic partnership with Government of Telangana and with the various companies, 11 Labs and other Idea Labs, Block 91, and other various universities and colleges, in the presence of Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu, the IT Minister of Telangana State, as well as Sri Jayesh Ranjan, the Secretary, Principal Secretary to IT, Telecom, and also the Information Technology, the Government of Telangana, as well as the other government officials, and around more than 100 engineering universities and colleges. The collateral agreement has been signed with the Government of Telangana to promote innovation, startup, as well as the startup culture within the universities and colleges. So these are various continuing education and research. These are the academic innovation where Engineering Staff Club of India is taking up. The continuing education and research, establishing makerspace, innovation hubs, and incubation centers, which is a primary motto, where if you would like to have an incubation center within your college or innovation hub, Engineering Staff Club of India is will be partnering with your university or a college, and we try to set up this. And we have a School of Postgraduate Studies with the Industry and Academic Advisory Board, and international certification programs with the global partners. We have various partners like John Cabot University, Italy, and University of Michigan, and also various other universities across the globe. And internship and placements opportunities which we have with the ESCI. So summer and also winter internships we take up in the areas of artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, IoT, and many other emerging technologies, we should say, where Engineering Staff Club of India focuses more on the various national missions of the country, and the training programs, the internships, and the programs have been based out of national missions, that we should say, the Skilling India, the Startup India, and we have Digital India, Make in India, and Amrut, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation of Urban Local Bodies, and many other programs which we are taking up. And the ESCI is recognized as a key resource center by Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. And the various ministries empanelment we have, namely Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Drinking Water and Supply, and many other ministries, I should say. We name a few, many institutions we have been running the programs for the working executives as well as the students. So these are the different taking part academic innovations that we take up, and funding opportunities by Institution of Engineers, DST, DRDO, AICT, and other things. If you would like to have some kind of a sponsored research program at your university or colleges, and ESCI is always mentoring various number of universities, colleges across the country. So please let us know where we can support you also in this regard. National and international partnerships and branding also we take up. And we have the Academic Advisory Board headed by the UPSC former chairman, Union Public Service Commission chairman, Professor D.P. Agarwal, Amity University Vice Chancellor, Professor P.B. Sharma, and other Harvard University visiting professors and many other professors across the country. And industry participation, we have the Airbus Regional Director, the India and South Asia, who has been heading it, and we have been getting good support from him, Suraj Chatriji, and many other industry leaders across the country. And Engineering Staff Club of India majorly focuses towards the Industry 4.0 technologies, augmented and virtual reality, cybersecurity, machine learning, 3D printing, blockchain, analytics, and IoT. So these are the major areas in which we have been focusing our training programs to be a part. And you are most welcome, every university, every college who is present here and attending. And we have been organizing programs across the country, and in campus, off campus, it might be continuing education programs and the various types. So we had a MOU with Guwahati University, Assam in the recent past in order to train the northeastern states. So we have conducting, and the nodal center of at Guwahati University, Assam has been created in order to do a lot of activities through this nodal center. So we have the Aicte is awarded the Innovative Training Provider Award 2019 by the Integrated Chambers of Commerce and Industry, ICCI, on 20th February 2019 during the Education to Entrepreneurship Summit at Delhi. So we are proud to say that we are an innovative training provider for the year 2019, and 2020 also we are going forward. And during this pandemic also, we happen to organize hundreds of national webinars, hundreds of conferences. And also we have been started these offline training programs in the recent past. In the last 1 month, we have been doing a lot of offline training programs. The pandemic has given us many things to learn, but we have been focusing more towards the digital learning as well as the offline learning also. And that's why the Best Innovative Training Provider Award 2019 has been received by ESCI because of the dedicated staff who have been present in various departments and also disciplines. So we had different international level funded programs and as well as a national level funded programs across the country. And we happen to have the international and branding, as well as we have been doing a lot of activities across the globe. So these are the small glimpses of our very recent programs. And these are the small recent MOUs that we had with John Cabot University, Italy, Pondicherry, Central University of Pondicherry, Guwahati University, Delhi Technological University, Dr. Ram Manohar Loya Awadhi University, Ayodhya, and certifying bodies, the industry mentors, more than 100 mentors for the leading companies we have, and incubators like T-Hub, ISBD Labs, IIIT Hyderabad, Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and Block 91 communities like 11 Hour Labs, R&D, and many other policy makers like Government of Telangana and Government of India. So we had an MOU with Dr. Ram Manohar Loya Awadhi University, Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh, and this MOU was signed in Lakshadweep Islands. So we happen to organize programs in various other parts of the country, including the Lakshadweep. So we had MOUs on Central University of Pondicherry and Delhi Technological University. So I should say the engineer Naveen Mittal has inaugurated the Career Awareness Camp, Institution of Engineers India campus at Hyderabad at Khairatabad. And this is this awareness camp creates some kind of awareness within the universities, colleges, as well as the students, and which course they have to take, and after this engineering or graduation, so what they have to do. So if he's an intermediate guy, also what they have to do. So this is for all the members, the students, to create an awareness on the career path, like with what kind of skills they should have, what kind of courses they should undergo, so that they can be having a lot of employment in the near future. At the same time, they are going for the entrepreneurship, incubation, innovation. So what kind of an activities they have to do. So this is a free awareness camp that has been initiated by Institution of Engineers India, Engineering Staff Club of India, an association. And this has this was inaugurated by Engineer Naveen Mittal, the IAS Fellow of Institution of Engineers, the Commissioner of Collegiate and Technical Education, Government of Telangana. And he has appreciated the support of to the government as well as the students, which has been started from IEA. So these are the small methodology and Aicte training programs, means model which we operate, chalk and talk sessions, participatory approach and expert discussion, role plays, hands-on experience we have, group activities, technical, virtual and field visits to various parts of the places. Like we do a lot of technical field visits also, and we get very good response from the defense laboratories, where the normal engineering colleges, they can't enter with this permission because the permissions are required, where ESCI will facilitate these permissions to get for the various universities, colleges. And this is a major important thing that we are looking into. If the student see the product or a service, what is happening in the research laboratory or what is happening in around the industries, so they will be feeling something they should do also, and they'll come out with some kind of a product or services, and they can go for a startup. So we have been mentoring a lot of startups also in this regard. And we have various resource persons drawn from regulatory authorities, expert committee members, and public sector units, and also industries, consultants, and technology providers, non-governmental organizations, academicians, researchers, and many startups. So there are pool of people we draw from the speakers from various parts of the country. And this is a small this infrastructure of our offline training programs that we had in Engineering Staff School of India. Because of it is a state-of-the-art infrastructure that we have around more than 70 acres of campus, the serene environment, where a very good facility for the hostel also we have, where we happen to have around more than 100 rooms where we can able to have the good training of as well as for the students also. It's a very good hostel facility. So this is the online setup that we had in the recent past before the during the pandemic, and many programs, hundreds of programs we have been doing online also. And the role plays, different role plays activities also we take up with the participants when they are with the various offline or offline programs, where we make them to participate in various activities. So these are the group activities where we make them to think creatively, laterally, so that they come out with some kind of a judgment, because it is not the one way of presentation or that we do. We do a lot of group activities, role plays, and many other things. So in recent past, our products and services were been showcased to Shri K.T. Ramarao, the IT Minister, Government of Telangana. The students who have been working on various models under infrastructure management, PGDM, and also general management. So directly they have got under the government initiative projects also they have taken up, and they have given some kind of a results to the Shri K.T. Ramarao, the IT Minister. So we had internships and placement opportunities in the leading corporate companies like Airtel, S&B Capital, Accenture, and many other leading companies in the country, including the Airbus. So the School of Postgraduate Studies, as I mentioned, the admissions are open for this PGDM infrastructure management as well as a PGDM general management, where if you would like to have your you join here, otherwise you would like to make your kid join here, it's the greatest opportunity where we are getting the support from the industry, academia, government, startup, and as well as a research ecosystem. In this environment, if the student is growing, he'll be having a bright future for him. And we are sure for the placements or opportunity also. And these are the various glimpses of online programs that we had in the recent past on design thinking, in event, R&D, and we happen to organize for the intellectual property rights and the sponsored research program, NBA accreditation, and we have leadership program, and we have international summit on quality indices and higher education in collaboration with Delhi Technological University, Delhi. We happen to organize this international summit where many hundreds of people they attended this program. So this is a brief intro about the Engineering Staff Club of India, the activities that we have taken up in the recent past, and the future that we are going to have. So we'll be having a 5 minutes of break now. Thank you very much. And we'll be having a 5 minutes of break now. And we'll be having a leadership talk by Dr. Kalyani Chakravarti, who happens to be the person who has been into Ministry of Manpower, Oman, and other countries also. And he'll be talking about the leadership and how to go about with this, and what are the things that have been lacking now, and future, how the institutions have to grow, how the leaders role, what is the leaders role in the making the institution a role model in the country. So with the permission of the director, Dr. G. Rameshwar sir, the president, Institution of Engineers, Narendra Singh sir. So we're taking a 5 minutes of break now, and we'll be having a talk by Dr. T. Kalyani Chakravarti. Thank you. So any questions, anything, any interaction if you like to have in the meantime also, our president sir is there, director sir is there, and also the chairman governing council and the members of the Institution of Engineers, Engineering Staff College have joined. So if anyone would like to interact here online, can ask any questions to the president sir, the director sir, and the members also relating to the leadership or any other area if you would like to have. So we'll be having a 5 minutes of break. So if anyone would like to have, so 5 minutes after this 5 minutes of break, we'll be having the interaction. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Dr. T. Kalyana Chakravarti, sir. Welcome to all participants again. Let me welcome Dr. T. Kalyana Chakravarti, the speaker for the day. So can you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
Oh, great. So let me introduce Dr. T. Kalyana Chakravarti, who happens to be the visiting professor to Ministry of Manpower, Oman. And also he happens to be the empaneled expert to Engineering Staff Club of India. And we have done a very good number of programs across the country to ESCI. And I welcome you, sir. Without taking much time, let us start the session with on leadership in higher and technical education in India. An invited talk by Dr. Kalyan Chakravarti.
Okay. Namaskar. Good morning. Namaste. Sat Sri Akal to everybody. I think all over India, many dignitaries are available online, and it's a very great day for Aicte for organizing this. So I appreciate the director and the program director and all the team members behind this wonderful webinar being there. So there are two things here: higher education and leadership. In my small experience of 2.5 decades in India, Maldives, and so many other countries, I toured across Europe also. What I have seen is, in many places, Indian education system is appreciated, but at the same time, there are some critics who say that our education is filled with theory and less practical things. This comment is coming because our syllabi, our courses have become age old. For many decades, the syllabus doesn't change. That is one issue in our education system. And even if it changes, how much is the practical element in our syllabi? So when it comes to technical education, we have civil engineering, mechanical engineering, IT, and other popular domains. But in some institutions, some interdisciplinary courses are being introduced. I'm glad. But this time is for designing need-based courses, which are very much invited by the industry. And another issue is we have to be competing with the world countries with our education system by standardizing, by upgrading, by upskilling, whatever you call it. We have to be always striving hard to compete with the foreign universities and foreign educational institutions. Now, with reference to new education policy 2020, as all of us have read, multidisciplinary courses and interdisciplinary research is kept on the high agenda. Most of the faculty members are worried across India because we tour, we visit many higher educational institutions across India. The main worry in higher educational institutions for faculty is how do we design new courses? How do we enter into multidisciplinary research or interdisciplinary research? So many things they are thinking about now. Then another aspect is, what is your evaluation criteria, assessment criteria? Are we following the latest tools, the globally accredited and approved grading system? Are we following? I'm not talking about the recognitions like AACSB and other recognitions or QS International, for example. I'm not talking about institutional recognition, but I'm talking about the parameters of assessment and evaluation, the criteria which is being followed. Is it in line with the international organization? So number one is identifying new courses, looking at the industrial demands. Number two is integrating skills into curriculum. And number three is assessment and evaluation criteria. On these three things, if we emphasize more, so my request to heads of the institutions across India, HODs, directors, deans, vice chancellors, whoever it is, my humble request is these three areas must be strengthened very much. That's where your leadership comes into picture. Academic leadership, administrative or academic leadership in this context, that comes into picture. As a leader, my worry is how best I can keep my institution on par with other institutions as an academic leader. That must be my agenda. But to keep our organization, our institution in the top-notch list, there are so many things that have to be implemented. For example, I take identifying the courses. For example, Aicte has started recently the infrastructure management course, which is one of the wonderful courses offered by this institution. I'm glad that they're looking at the industry needs and designing the courses. But all over India, how many institutions are thinking of starting such courses? And if the courses are started, how many are thinking of joining such courses? Infrastructure management, because looking at the future demands, Aicte has started this. Similarly, there can be n number of courses. Now, COVID situation has taught us that we have to be ready with so many things. So something related to the pandemic, are there any courses designed? Or the tense situation which has changed the way industry leaders are thinking, the way administrators are thinking, the way jobs have been changed, because 70% of the IT industry is working from home now. So future jobs are going to be very, very different. Whatever 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we have been thinking of in the job market, they may not exist now in future. So the generation, present generation, Gen X, Gen Y, or Gen Z, whatever you call it, the millennials, what are their expectations? Are we thinking in these lines? That's where again academic leadership, higher educational leadership comes into picture. So having identified new courses, how do we implement them? What will be the duration, fee structure, all those things will come into picture. Then the study of industrial demands. Now industries are changing. Recently, I have seen that some organization has started selling anti-corona shirts, for example. So somebody is thinking innovatively that in this pandemic, they thought anti-corona word will sell well. So they have started anti-corona shirts. Somebody will come out with anti-corona packaging that may emerge as an industry. Somebody will say that all these items which we are selling are free of corona, things like that. So many changes are coming in the market. As per these changes, are we ready to face the future challenges? Because these millennials are frustrated. 1 year academic year is lost. And to cover up all the syllabi, exams, all these things, already a lot of struggle is going on across India at higher educational institutions. There is a leadership challenge. How do we, whatever syllabus is covered or not covered, how do we conduct examinations? And there was a discussion across the country that online exams are good, or should we call the students and take paper-based tests? But some are doing both, paper-based and online also. So these are some of the challenges. Then comes your integration of skills. As all of you know, there are nearly 10 identified skills by World Economic Forum. I hope most of us have seen that. And some of the prominent skills mentioned by World Economic Forum by 2022, which is very near, are complex problem solving skills, analytical skills. Leadership is anyway there, and cognitive flexibility. These words look very attractive, but if we try to implement these things in our curriculum, it's not that easy. It means in every department, every higher educational institution, there should be some consultative workshops, seminars, to discuss what are these skills and how do we integrate. That has to happen. And it has to happen now because it is opening up. The vaccine has come, and we are glad that indigenously developed Indian vaccines are being given. And there is a huge demand across the world. Nearly 100 countries are taking these vaccines from India. That's a great hope. But in this post-pandemic situation, are we organizing some workshops, some seminars, some webinars, whatever? And are we trying to think of the things which I have been discussing with reference to new education policy? Because the bill is passed and everybody is happy that new education policy has come, which is prominently talking about holistic development of individuals. But to achieve that holistic development, are we ready with the equipment? That is a very question I have. And though we are calling it new education policy, it is not much new. Look at our age-old Takshashila, Nalanda, Vallabhi, all these institutions, which were also proclaiming holistic development, overall development of an individual personality, may it be technical education or general education. The moment an individual comes out of a university or an engineering college or MBA college, they are supposed to be achieving some holistic personality. But is it happening in our curriculum, in our institutions? That is a great worry. And thousands of years ago, that was proclaimed. And in new education policy also, it is re-emphasized again. So I don't see much new things in that. But the only attraction is MERUs, multidisciplinary research universities, MERU. This is emphasized in new education policy. It means there are going to be some teaching institutions and some are going to be focusing on research, and somebody is going to emphasize more on skill set improvement. Even to become a research institution, all the departments of that institution has to come together, sit together and discuss by identifying various futuristic research areas. For example, there is microbiology. What is that new thing which is happening in this area? If it is civil engineering, what is new that we are going to offer? Mechanical engineering, what is new that is going to be offered? Because the traditional courses will be losing their charm day by day. That's why there is an immediate need to sit and decide as to what else can we do for this generation. That is the idea. Okay, in assessment criteria, okay, we have identified new courses and we have kept some agenda and we have some course outline and we have identified faculty, and now we are ready to start the course, for example. Okay, material development. That becomes another leadership challenge. What type of materials and how much theory, how much practical, how much field work? Usually, there are 2 months or 3 months of practical studies will be there at MBA colleges or engineering colleges. How about making it 60 to 70% practical, industrial oriented course? That is another challenge. Is it possible? I'm just sharing with you in this August gathering, in the crowd of this intellectual community. I'm just sharing my ideas. May be possible, may not be possible. So how about making our courses 60 to 70% practical oriented? I mean, industry based. The theory is very less. If it is possible, then that becomes a new course based on the future demands. Then assessment criteria. what is our general assessment criteria? Some theory, some practical. It means it is still some reading, writing, and some expression. But if you look at Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, the Frames of Mind, 1983 publication, Howard Gardner. If anybody is interested, just look at that book, which talks about 9 types of intelligence. But usually our criteria is so and so is very clever, so and so is dull, so and so is dumb. Such statements will be there when you ask what is your assessment or evaluation of so and so. But intellectuals like Howard Gardner say there are 9 types of intelligence. He talks about linguistic intelligence, he talks about musical intelligence, he talks about spatial intelligence, he talks about intrapersonal intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, natural intelligence, likewise kinesthetic intelligence. All these things put together, there are 9 types of intelligence. If there are 9 types of intelligence, why are we sticking to assessing only 2 or 3 types of intelligence? That is a very question. I asked this question in many fora, many seminars, many trainings, but the answers are very less. We have even conducted a survey during this FDPs being conducted by Aicte, FDPs, MDPs, and faculty development programs and workshops. We have been asking, what do you think of assessment criteria? Can we integrate these 9 types of intelligence test in our curriculum, in our assessment curriculum? Is it possible? So I'm just trying out. If it is possible, I think we'll be doing a great job. But in the syllabus, how do we integrate this assessment criteria? For example, I have theory part 30%, then another workshop part another 30%, then some field study 30%, like that 100 marks I am assessing. But in that, again, which type of intelligence am I assessing? Because the aim and objective of any higher educational institution is to improve emotional intelligence and all these 9 types of intelligences of any person, whether it is engineer, management guy, or anybody. If it is not being improved, then somewhere our objectives and agenda is different. That's the idea. And on the mark sheet, if these intelligences are not mentioned, not assessed, it means these students are going unassessed, untouched. It means they are only improving 2 or 3 skills, whereas the World Economic Forum says at least 10 skills the package is expected. So this is the main focus, I think, when you think of implementing new education policy. So that's where the challenge in higher educational institutions is there. And look at any foreign university, most of the universities have tied up with the industries. It means whatever industry wants, they are ready to produce. Or whatever industry wants to produce, they become partners in that. And there is ready employment. Because every year, some 6 months, 7 months, they are spending in the industry, particularly these engineering and management graduates. And only 30–40% they are spending in the classrooms, theoretical, where theoretical teaching goes on. That's why the development is seen very fast. And I wonder in India, in spite of having this much of wisdom, the country which has been teaching the world, Vishwaguru, still our development is very limited. It is not as much as it should have been by now. So somewhere in the history, there is a long gap in terms of development or whatever prosperity you call it. There are many reasons, of course. So many invasions, so many things, political, geographical, economic reasons are there. That's fine. But as academicians, as we think of educational leaders, academic leaders, as heads of the institutions, as faculty, we have to keep all these things in mind and try to do something new. That is the idea. For example, if any workshop, if you people are thinking of conducting or any conference, practically, now that things are opening up, face-to-face consultative workshops should happen, where each department should sit together and take out the existing courses, then identify expected courses, then existing skill set. Another column should be expected skill set, existing skill set and expected skill set. If this worksheet can be filled, I think the outcomes will be wonderful, because we talk about outcome based learning also sometimes. So I request honorable academicians, heads of the institution across India, those who have gathered today in this August gathering, think of three things: futuristic courses, integrating skills into curriculum, then new assessment criteria. If these three aspects can be discussed and implemented, I think India will be ready to compete with any nation in the world. That is the thing. Then concepts like multiple intelligence should be taught and should be assessed by the faculty members. It should be tried out first in their respective classrooms, because suddenly we cannot implement any new thing. You know how many years it took to start this new education policy? So many years it has taken. Even then, after making the bill also, the implementation will take another 2-3 years. So to speed up the process, I think this is the time, right time. Vaccination started and all are opening up. Now start doing some workshops and conferences in your individual institutions, so that the moment AICTE or UGC or any accreditation authority asks us, what are you doing in terms of new education policy? Our institutions, I mean your institutions, will be ready with the agenda and draft plan. If that can be done, I think we are doing a great job. Okay, we talked about the demand for futuristic courses, new courses. We talked about multidisciplinary courses. We talked about interdisciplinary research, and we talked about integrating skills into curriculum. Then we talked about assessment criteria with reference to multiple intelligences theory of Howard Gardner. Now, what becomes your agenda, immediate agenda? That's what I think has to be debated, and individually the academic leaders or university vice chancellors or directors of various institutions or faculty members can take up this agenda and try to implement. But there are challenges. It is not as easy as said, because agendas can be framed. But what about implementation part? How much can we do about it? Is there a monitoring authority which is overseeing the implementation of new education policy? And is there a role of Ministry of Skill Development or NSDC, agencies like NSDC, NCTE, AICTE? Is there a wing which is monitoring the particular practicality of this education system or the skill development part, assessment criteria part? I think there should be one monitoring agency. I propose in this August gathering, like we have industry cell, we have entrepreneurship cell, we have incubation cells in our institutions. There should be one monitoring wing which is only focusing on the new course design, implementation, and the assessment criteria which we are going to implement with reference to new education policy. Because policies can be made, but implementation is very, very hard. That's what is my feeling. But I appreciate all of you have taken time and gathered in this wonderful webinar.
So thank you.
With the latest theme. My humble request is, at each institution, higher education institution, kindly think of one workshop within in-house or by inviting somebody, that doesn't matter, but think of the existing courses, think of the expected courses, think of the existing skill set, think of the expected skill set, then assessment criteria. That's where, the real practical uh, ideas will come out, because we have wonderful brains, but when it comes to implementation, so many socio political, economic, so many reasons will come, and the implementation part will get very much disturbed. That's what has been happening throughout these decades or centuries. We have ideas, but implementation, somewhere it is going. So based on the industrial expectations, let us try re-engineering has to happen now. That's where we'll get practical at. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thanks to the director, thanks to the program director, and
Thank you.
all the persons available online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kalyan. Thank you so much for your wonderful time that you have spent with us. Thank you so much. And a small announcement we'd like to make. We may be having again Anil Sahasrabudheji, because today morning we had a session with him, and he could able to spare around 30 minutes of his time to enlighten all the participants on the role of leadership in higher and educational institutions to promote innovation and startup culture. And this is already on the YouTube. We have been placed, and his talk has been already completed, but still he'll be joining for the question and answer session. He has mentioned during his talk at 11:40, 11:45. So let us hope he'll be also back again. So until then, I request Dr. A.P. Natarajan. Dr. A.P. Natarajan, sir, the Harvard University visiting professor and the skills coach, as well as a person empaneled with the Engineering Staff College of India for various courses. Thank you, Dr. Kalyan, for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much to SK and all the dignitaries.
Let me request Dr. A.P. Natarajan, sir, to enlighten all the participants relating to the leadership and what are the things required by a leader to promote his institution towards the innovation and startup. So, Dr. Natarajan, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Kishore. With due respect to all the great personalities, I'd just like to mention few points. As my experience goes, what I have been seeing at abroad and in India, there's a yawning gap between the theoretical and practicality. Though we have revised number of times the syllabus for engineering subjects, MBA, and all other courses, yet a glaring deficiency seems to be not bridging the gap between the theoretical aspects and the practical aspects. For every aspect, if I'm going to take a little bit of about management, the first and the foremost, the very system involved starts with certain practical aspects and followed by certain organizational cases and review of those cases and an interaction between the faculty and the students in trying to find out a new solution for the existing problems, right? Thereby, we see a lot of actually exposure to the practical aspects, and the students are getting associated with the reality, the situation that is existing around them. So the whole education is just not a paperwork. The application part of it is more. So we have seen the change about 30, 40 years back abroad in other Western countries. So they're able to develop better managers who can handle the situation, who can handle the crisis, and quite apart from that, they're able to handle and they're better at people management. For last 20 years, I've been visiting many organizations, companies. I always find that the managers there are ill-equipped. They have good qualification and all that, maybe even some experience. But the methodology, what they actually are applying in their industry or organization, right, is far away from the required level, right? So the knowledge alone may not be sufficient. We find that a lack of specific skills to handle the situation, thereby almost a 30% of inherent loss. For example, in decision making, enormous time is being taken, or the responsibility is transferred from one person to another person. The hierarchy is also a bit confusing. You find too many people, like too many cooks spoil the broth. So the management system itself is not well defined, and the managers are ill-equipped to handle them. And the second reason, we find less of innovative, either ideas or procedures in handling the problem. People do not have, they only are following the conventional methodology in identifying the solution. Very little or lack of divergent or convergent, whatever it is, or lateral thinking is not to be seen among the elites in the management group. If that is the case, the people working at a middle level or lower level managers, the situation is far more bleak. So the thing where it has to start, where and how the academia and the industry, the accountability for development, where it has to start. Undoubtedly, the industry is very clear that the necessary training has to be imparted at the college level, and they have to be groomed at the college level, right? So ultimately, the responsibility is coming on the colleges or the education institutes in grooming the future managers who can handle better situation, who can handle all the challenges technically, theoretically, and practically. That's where a need, a change is imperative. The new education policy hopefully runs in that line of a new entrepreneurship, a new leadership, a new managerial efficiency. So that's where a radical change has to happen at the grassroots level. Almost the students, right from, I would practically put it as +2, are taught the qualities of managers or a good leader. A leadership training should be imparted or as a subject or as a curriculum itself, right? A part of a management, it has to be introduced, though we are finding today at the graduation level and post-graduation level. I would rather, hopefully, expect that such kind of a revolutionary in education and getting them at a very managerial level, right from the +2, is so important. And exposing all this, even at the +2 level, exposing them to various industry practically going and seeing the situation and gaining that knowledge and also the awareness, right? The students are better or maybe better equipped to meet those future challenges. That's where a change has to come. Lot of emphasis, of course, today we are giving for skill development program, but yet it is still not sufficient. It's still not sufficient. Rather, I would say the 70, 80 years of the system, this age-old system, has to be on urgent basis. It needs to be rejuvenated and redefined. And so the steps are now being taken slowly, but yet a faster implementation of these methodologies is a must for all the education institute, and also it is good for the academic performance. I would say the tapping the young managers, whether we can put the blooming managers who are trained at the grassroots level. So I don't find a lot of actually leadership activities or role imparted at the lower level. At graduation level, that's okay. But even then, I would say the right time or the right position would be at +2 levels. The moment they complete their SSC, right from then, every person, irrespective of whatever the options he has, he may be a mathematics student, he may be a physics student, he may be anything. I would rather put it as a management. Right? A management perspective is added along with all other subjects, so that they learn handling the people is the most vital and important once they come to the job. Not only being manager, even in any other position, right? Involving the people and moving with the people is so important. So that can definitely give them a very good team skills, and also we can develop them in certain leadership skills, is so that, like I have seen the Indian in the military defense academy, where how they are groomed. So grooming starts at a very grassroots level. So that's why we find a very efficient and effective defense people in India. So such kind of people, not only at defense level, at every level, common to every person and common to every student, this training and the skills and of course the knowledge we need to add on, so that quite apart from their regular academics, they're also well trained. Like in Japan, we find that many people, every person, whether it's a doctor or a scientist or even student, they all have a good awareness and understanding and the skills of Zen management techniques, and they apply in practical so that the results are fast. We could see after the World War, Japan has been one of the most important economically very sound country because of
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
imparting certain.
Sorry to interrupt
Yes, sir.
you. Sorry to interrupt you. We'll be continuing. We have with us Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, sir.
Yeah, Kishore, thanks a lot.
Yes,
So, yeah.
No. Now I'm free, so you can continue, complete that, and then.
No, sir.
Okay.
Whatever the perspective, I need to just
Thank you
express
so much.
a little. It was a bit, it is an invitation without any notice. So I just gave my perspective. And very kind, sir, and my due respect to you, sir, Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe. So thanks I thank you all the people and SK for giving me this small opportunity to explain and express my small views. Very kind, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. We'd like to hear a lot from you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Natarajan, sir, the visiting professor to Harvard University, US. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your valuable time. Dr. Kalyan Chakravarti, sir. Now we'll be having a QA session with Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, sir, the chairman of Aicte. So I request the participants to please unmute your mic and you can have a QA relating to the topic which has been mentioned, like leadership in higher and technical education to promote startup and innovation culture. So with relating to this, please ask any question to Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, sir. Thank you, sir. So I request the participants to please unmute your mics. Those who would like to ask any question, put it on the chat window also, if you are unable to talk. If you don't have any mics, please put it on the chat window. Yes, Dr. Kalyan sir, any question from your side?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, in your experience, what do you think of this new education policy? At the beginning, I was given an opportunity to speak on this for some time, just before Dr. Natarajan, sir. So my worry was the national education policy emphasizes multidisciplinary courses and interdisciplinary research. In these two areas, is it that nothing has been happening, or what is new is going to happen in these two areas, sir? Multidisciplinary education and interdisciplinary research. Could you please throw some light on this, sir?
See, universities were supposed to be all the time multidisciplinary. Unfortunately, over this last 2-3 decades, we have started building walls and became technical university, medical university, law university, and so on and so forth. But otherwise, by definition, university is a melting pot for all variety of knowledge, starting from humanities and social sciences to physical sciences to chemical and biological sciences to engineering and technology to law, all of that should be available in a university campus. Thereby, any student who wants to specialize in one field but still has an interest as well as a connect or a linkage to other domains of knowledge must have access to it. Today it has two different facets. There are institutions where in a big campus there may be 2 or 3 or 4 colleges. Maybe an arts college is also there, a science college is also there, an engineering college is there, management college is there. Therefore, in a way, the multidisciplinary may exist. But there are also institutions who are all absolutely individual institutions which are affiliated to a university, and therefore multidisciplinary approach is not visible today in as many institutions as we want. It is certainly there in some of these institutions, but not all of them. So I think that is where a change is reflected here. And number of institutions which are very, very small in size. There are institutions with only 50 or 100 students to about 100 to 500 to 1000 students. Institutions exist. And they are all colleges which are affiliated to a larger body university, and therefore there is no innovation happening. There is no curriculum change that is happening because everything is driven by what the university dictates. And that is where this particular policy talks about reducing the number of institutions from present 45-50,000 to down to about 3-4,000. And each one of them should be degree awarding. So they must be having full autonomy in terms of the curricular structure, the teaching learning, the examination, and finally giving of the certificates. So that is where you have to now outgrow and become multidisciplinary. There is no choice. May take little long time. It may not be overnight, certainly because we are used to one system. Changing to another system, becoming multidisciplinary may take time. There are 2 or 3 different models that have to arise. One is a society or a trust which has enough land, enough buildings, can itself become multidisciplinary. If an institution or the society or a trust has 3 or 4 or 5 colleges already, how they can amalgamate together and become one entity. 2, those who have only a single college, single society, 5 or 6 such trusts and societies with similar vision, mission can come together and act as one cooperative, collaborative structure. So these are all possibilities whereby students will get an experience of multidisciplinary education. So that doesn't mean that a student will take only 10 credits from some 20 disciplines and says that I want to get a degree. That may still be called probably a degree in liberal arts, but someone will require, certainly someone studying physics should have major courses in the domain of physics to be studied, but at the same time, if he has interest in music and how physics is related with music or acoustics is very important. Similarly, a mechanical engineering student, if he is able to do something with painting, how AutoCAD and these two tools which he uses otherwise in mechanical engineering design can also be used in another domain. I think that is what is multidisciplinary. And as far as research is concerned, multidisciplinary or cross-disciplinary research, this is already happening, and this has to happen because no product which is upcoming in the market today is from a single domain. You name any product, it will have at least 3 or 4 discipline inputs required for becoming a successful product. So therefore, research and innovation has to be multidisciplinary. There is no other way. And those countries, those institutions who have adopted this very well, they are the ones who have become successful. You look at the entire Stanford University and the surrounding area in the California. Why are there so many innovations and new products coming up from their incubators or from the campuses themselves? Same is the case with MIT. Same is the case with many other universities in the US. That is not happening in so many countries in the world. And that is why this cross-disciplinary research is very important, because we all divided disciplines into very watertight compartments. An engineering student means, for entry, we said physics, chemistry, and mathematics mandatory. Yes, that is mandatory because basic essence of engineering comes from mathematics, followed by physics, followed by chemistry. But if a student has done biology, there is no place. Instead of, say, chemistry, someone has taken biology, will we allow him in engineering? I think that is where a big change is required in the attitude of the people. And that is what the new education policy says. And therefore, if a student of biology also is there in the class, I think I will give you classic examples of some of the universities where intake for the master's program is drawn from variety of disciplines, not abroad. I'm talking about IIT Bombay's design school. There is a Master of Design course. You will get a BSc Physics, BSc Chemistry student, BA Psychology student, BA Economics student, BTech Mechanical Engineering student, BE Computer Science student. They are all part of this. And when they come together, some kind of learning which is required for, say, arts or science students in terms of some software usage, etc., if they are not aware, because engineering people would have done it, they are taught that as a prerequisite or a bridge course. And similarly, you need to understand ultimately the product is meant for a customer. So in terms of customer requirements, analysis, aesthetics, most of the other guys from engineering would have probably not done it. They are given a course on that. And by the time one semester is over, they are all almost on the similar footing. And common footing is there, then future will be, they will all join together and work together, and different interesting products emerge from out of the campuses. This is happening from India itself, not I'm talking about only Stanford or MIT or Caltech example. And therefore, this is what this policy is talking about. This is the need, and how we can bring it in our academic institutions. As I said, the collaboration is the key. Whether the collaboration between the same colleges of the same trust or different trusts coming together or different domains coming together, all of that is a challenge, but we need to address it squarely in the next couple of months. But student is the key stakeholder for us. He is the customer. How we will enrich a student in terms of becoming innovative is what our leadership has to think about. And that's why whether it is heads of the department, principals, they should meet together, brainstorm, and how within the given limitations as fast as possible. Although the window of 10 to 15 years is provided in the new education policy to transform from affiliated system of education to completely autonomous degree awarding institutions, the scale is 10 to 15 years. But how within 5 years I can go closer to that? One of the successful models in the government under UGC and MHRD was the RUSA model. 5 or 6 government colleges, even located far off, few kilometers distance, they have come together, formed a cluster university. So similar cluster universities can be made by using the similar phenomenon in the private sector as well. Why only in the government? And there will be some give and take. There will be certainly MOUs required. So this is one part. But till such time this emerges, we have a wonderful opportunity through indigenously developed Swayam portal, which is a MOOCs portal, which is called Swayam. There are 2,500 plus courses already available from all domains, right from liberal arts, physics, chemistry, math, science, humanities, and social sciences to engineering, medicine, law, etc. Why can't we allow our students, as given by the mandate of both UGC and AICT, to allow 20% of the credits from Swayam to be allowed to be taken and put into your transcript? Your university curriculum is there. So part of the courses of the curriculum or some of the courses as electives, if universities and colleges start allowing to be taken from some other institution, I think that is where multidisciplinary approach will automatically come in our blood and DNA, and that can further accentuate or increase in terms of within the same institution also, that kind of flexibility can be born.
Thank you, Professor, for such a
Thank you, sir.
comprehensive
Thank you very
answer.
much.
Thank you.
And one more question, sir. So how there is one question from Dr. Kiran. Dr. Kiran, can you able to talk? Dr. Kiran Chakravarti, sir, can just unmute yourself. There is on the chat window, sir. I guess the universities are not required.
Yeah, I've read it. I've read it.
Yes.
I think if you look at least AICT's approval process, every year you need to give some input about what institution is doing, not just in terms of infrastructure, faculty profile, how many faculty left and how many joined. Anyway, that information is certainly asked for before even the approval is granted for an institution annually. But beyond that, we also have many things which we call mandatory, and some of them are suggestive. For example, if you go back 5 years, 6 years ago, we used to say that you need to have a solar panel, water harvesting as a suggestive measure. It was not mandatory. But gradually, similarly, we had for physically challenged people facilities in terms of not only movement, accessibility, in terms of toilet, but now gradually we are saying accessibility in terms of education. How do you provide them education? Some of them have challenges in understanding the normal class work. Maybe a blind student is there in your class, so he will be able to listen, but he is not able to see. So how you can empower him through the Braille type of books? These are additional features going on, added every year after year. And not only that, before you download an extension of approval letter, there are certain other questions like how many students have got job, how many students have become entrepreneurs, how many students have gone abroad, how many students have gone for higher studies, such kind of data. Similarly, there is a data on implementation of some of the government policies, like how many startups are created, how many students have done so many things, water harvest, many things are asked as a standby question. Probably since the national education policy is now rolled out, what part of the national education policy have you implemented? Have you become multidisciplinary? To what extent? Have you got any research project which is multidisciplinary? So these questions can be raised, and initially it will not be mandatory. It will be only to create awareness that this is a question which is being asked every year after year. That means some year it is going to become mandatory. So please understand our approval process handbook. If you look, there are certain things which are advisory in nature, and after a few years those advisory become mandatory. So that is a philosophy of getting people on board. They should get realized that this is an important aspect, and once you start doing it, or if you are replying every time no, it pinches you. So this question is being asked by AICT year after year, and I am saying it is not available in my institute. So it will pinch the principal, the director, and they will start adopting it. And when a substantial number of institutions have already adopted it, we can make it mandatory. In that case, the remaining people who will be given then officially 1 or 2 years time to whatever mandate is given, they should comply with that. I think that is the way going forward. So if you overnight say that every institution should have everything, probably the whole system will collapse. So we have been having a very graded approach of reaching to excellence in the form of gradually increasing the requirements. And that is how we have been able to push forward reforms. And what the question was asked is about the new education policy, whether it is in terms of adopting MOOCs platform, creating the MOOC courses, to not only that, other aspects of the new education policy in terms of Indian knowledge systems, the values, ethics. What are you doing for that? When this question is asked for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, naturally in the 4th year it will be made mandatory. If you have not done that, you will still get approval this year, but next year you have to come on board with that. Otherwise, you will not get approval. I think this is the way we should go ahead with our entire processing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Dr. Kiran, sir.
Yeah.
Can just.
Thank you, sir, for answering the question, Matlan. And yeah, my kind of hope and part displeasure come from the fact that, what you just said, I do understand that makes very good sense actually, to be gradual and incremental in terms of bringing through the change. But what's happening is mostly, in most cases, not just our university or anything, I'm not pointing at anyone here, but a lot of universities and institutions and even people, individual mindset, of course, right? They do not want to do anything until it's mandatory. And the idea of Aicte giving that empowerment in advance so that people can actually develop incrementally, that is not being implemented because there is no particular check on it. Like you said, 3 years I can still probably get through, but the 4th year I'm stopped. So I'll probably start working on it only in the 4th year and not in the first 3 years like it is recommended. That is one thing. And the second thing that is happening is when institutions are actually hiring people to man their incubation centers, even Section 8 companies by themselves or any cells like entrepreneurship development cell or institute innovation cell or anything, they are also required to teach certain number of courses, have certain amount of academic load and such. And of course, I do understand that a connectivity with the education system is necessary, but I also believe that if there is some relaxation for the faculty members who are handling such things, that would be great. And one more thing, sir, with the NEP innovation, comparing all those together, I would even say the gap year, for example, or the mandatory requirement for internship with a startup. Such things can actually bring about change even faster. The gap year is not being implemented at a lot of places, and that is a problem. Though Aicte provides for the gap year, the universities and the colleges are not essentially motivated to allow their students for gap years because that also the gap year will reflect bad in case of gold medals that the students may get and the kind of pass percentages the students actually have. The universities actually have and such. So there should be some kind of measure in order to account for that in such analysis and such, without which I'm not sure how many universities and colleges can proactively implement NEP or NISP.
Dr. Kiran, you raised several points, one after the other. So very difficult to remember all of them and then answer to them. But number one, this approach of gradually moving ahead is important. In a country with 40,000 general colleges, but even technical colleges being in 10,000 number, engineering colleges themselves 3,200, another 2,800 polytechnics. If these 6,000 institutions are asked that next year onwards, you must have all of this, I think all of them will get closed and the entire education sector will come to a grinding halt. No, that is also not possible. And therefore, this approach of going in a graded manner, in a flexible manner is very important in our country. When you are not doing anything, from there to start doing something is itself a big change, and that has been visible now. And this all started long back. In fact, even before the policy came, before even I joined Aicte, if you remember, Aicte CII industry linked survey, which started exactly 10 years ago, when we asked, very few institutions were able to apply because the parameters which were to be done, how many MOUs you have, what kind of in curriculum revision you are participating with industries, how many industry projects are given, how many students are doing internship. Some of these institutions had everything 0, 0, 0. How can they apply? But since we started gradually saying that institutions should participate, some institutions started participating. They got very low scores, but got still awards. And then after looking at those parameters, some of these institutions started acting on them. Nothing was mandatory, but from one activity to 2 to 3 to 5. Today, I will say more than 50% of the institutions do at least 50% of the activities which we desired in a matter of 5 to 10 years. So the same way, we have now made mandatory accreditation. If you have to get through accreditation, which is an outcome-based education system, a lot of things are required to be done by the institutions. So unless you are accredited in 4 years' time, the college will not be allowed to continue. We have given a long rope. Already 1 year was over, second year is now ongoing. So maybe 2 years window is available. If you don't do it, that college will be not given extension of approval. So this is already being done. So there is a stick, but at the same time, there is a provision of providing help in form of a scheme called Margadarshan scheme, mentoring scheme, where institutions who are not as good will be provided support from institutions which are good, as well as some of the faculty who have retired, some of the industry people who have retired, those who have got still energy left with them. Why can't they go to that institution and try to help them, mentor them, and bring out excellence from out of that institution? Because students are very bright. It is the only mindset problem of the heroes of academic leadership, whether it is at the college level, principal and the director or HODs, and at the university level, vice chancellor and the deans. And you rightly said, even though this is allowed, some of the universities are not doing it. First, we must provide what we say as a facility or a flexibility. Some institutions will adopt it, use it. And an institution which has used, and if you talked about gold medal, I'm sure an institution can also say that even if you take gap year, which officially he has asked for, claimed and not failed, they are also eligible for gold medal. What holds you from doing that? I think that change has to be done by the university. Now, out of 1,000 universities, even if suppose 10 universities do that, and I'm giving you an example in one of the convocation addresses in the Gujarat Technical University only 2 years back. In my opening remarks, I just mentioned that we give gold medals to students who score high marks, maybe 9.5 CGP out of 10 or 85-90% of marks, so on and so forth. But why not give also a gold medal for some student who has created a startup while being a student? And next year itself, they have started. That is the first university which gives a gold medal for a student who has created a startup when he is in the still 4-year program. Now, if there is a gap year allowed, even with a gap year, such a student gets a gold medal. He doesn't get a gold medal possibly in probably your academic, whatever CGPA or subject marks percentages are involved, but he gets a gold medal in another area from the same governor, same chief guest. Is it not going to be an honor for him or her? So naturally, that institution which has done it will be advertised, newspapers will write articles, other 10 universities will start adopting it, another 10 will start adopting it, and that becomes a normal. I think that is how we need to move forward. So don't worry, nothing will be no one has a magic wand which by rotating like this, everything will overnight change. So we have to accept the reality and push hard. And second thing which this particular policy obviously talks about, very interestingly, I'm talking about some other area, no doubt, but these are all very important things which we are talking. We have made internship mandatory. Now I'm giving an example. Aicte said that every institution should have an MOU with 5 institutions, 5 industries, maybe small and medium scale, maybe even a large industry, maybe a startup, but you have it so that your students get an opportunity to do internship, get their problems as projects for your final year students. All of that we advocated and we made it mandatory. It is mandatory today. But some institutions did give data, and when we tried to verify, we found that none of those 5 industries exist. So just because making mandatory may not work, we need to have a mechanism of even verification. So there are people who give fake faculty names. There are institutions who give fake data, fake placement record. All of that is also happening. But once we make this new policy in implementation in the fullest scale, we are not even going to inspect, but what is going to be mandatory is every institution should put forward whatever they are giving onto their portal, and even if they don't give onto their portal, whatever information they have given to AICT or whatever that new body, HECI, will come into existence, will be available in public domain. Once the information about an institution is available in public domain as claimed by the institution, we are not forcing them. We have made some things mandatory, some things optional. Now the institution has given the data which is available in public domain. Any viewer of that, whether he is or she is a student of that institution or some other institution, or some parent or some industry, observes that many of the data that are provided are all fake and wrong, and if a complaint is received, the institution can then be closed instantaneously. I think there is this mechanism of regulation being light but tight. Those who do not follow ethics, morals, values, they have no place in continuing in the education sector. I think this is going to be a very lethal process, but nevertheless is going to discipline our institutions and the heads of the institutions, they trust, and the societies to be more and more honest. That's what income tax did. Anyone who pays on time, they have got reward. Whereas one who is not doing it, they get heavy penalties. Exactly the same way the regulatory process in the future in the new national education policy, when implemented, I'm sure over next 3 to 4 years, more ethical standards will emerge out of that. And I'm sure better quality of teaching, learning, better outcome of the students, both in terms of employability on one side or becoming entrepreneur on the other side, can be certainly be possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Professor. So, Dr. Purushottam, sir, any question from your side? Just unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, there is a point which same Kiran had raised probably about the load being reduced.
Yes,
In fact, let me come back on this particular word, load itself. When I was director, many a times this used to come. AICT was a regulatory body. I was at the receiving end. I was a principal director of an institution in Pune. And there is a mechanism of saying that assistant professors should have a load of 16 hours, someone else 14 hours. That terminology was always reflected by the faculty in the form of their association and union, saying that my load is increased from 14 to 16, why should I do that, and all of that. So my only question, counter question to them and many others used to be, this very word load itself is a wrong word. As soon as you say load, we assume that something is coming on me and therefore I am distasting it. If you say instead of load, you will get 14 hours of opportunity of teaching. I think that is a positive word, and instead of 14, even if it is made 16, and a person once he is taking the same course several years, I don't think there is so much of preparation time required, although preparation is required even for a senior professor close to retirement also, because something new is happening, he has to read that. But the amount of effort required in creating the course, lecture for a senior faculty will be much less compared to a younger faculty. And therefore, if they are involved in other activities, voluntarily, I think that is to be valued in terms of your career advancement scheme, from assistant to associate, associate to professor, there are points. And there are institutions where you take an average. I'm telling you, I will give you with 100% guarantee that the process of selection of the faculty, if it is done reasonably well, without any biases, automatically you will have some faculty who would be interested in research, some would be interested in teaching, some would be interested in doing some administrative work, some would be interested in dealing with students, whether it is sports, cultural activities, and so on. So depending on the taste of an individual, you allot that particular task as an additional work, they will do it with all the pleasure. And value that for their career advancement scheme. Whatever you have chosen, you have to excel. We are not questioning. See, everyone need not publish 10 papers per year. But someone says that I want to publish papers, that is what I would like to contribute. And because I am deeply interested in research, give more weightage for his career advancement scheme on research. Less weightage on teaching, less weightage on administration. In some other case, it would be the other way around. More weightage on administration, less weightage on research. I think that is where particular person's interest is taken care of, and holistically, because you will have people with one third, one third, one third. By statistics, without any bias, if you have selected, there will be people interested in research, maybe 30-40%, another 30-40% interested in only teaching, another 20% interested only in administration type of activities. Give them that task more and less task of the other variety, and the institution will excel in the process.
Great, sir.
Kiran, just I would like to ask one question to Professor Anil.
Yeah, Dr. Purushottam, sir. Yeah.
Yes, Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar ji.
How are you, sir? Great to see you. I am Dr. Purushottam, former CMD NRDC, and now I joined as a DPIIT IPR chair at Andhra University.
I keep seeing your WhatsApp messages. Wonderful. You are doing great work, and our best wishes. Wherever you go, you will excel. I know that,
Yeah, thank you for your blessing, sir. But after joining in your discipline as a teaching line, I could see the vibrations made by you. AICT is extremely doing well, sir, during your tenure, and everybody is so happy. My compliments to you, and it should be continued. Sir, I would like to have one observation after joining in the university. See, the innovation is not felt as a part of the faculty members' core strengths for all these years. There is a need for building such kind of a cult, I would say, in the universities, who can take the innovation as a mainstream. I don't think the faculty members can be, because they've spent majority of their life or energy in teaching and research, I don't think they can be given the responsibility as innovation leaders. AICT has got several programs to promote this culture, but I think if you can introduce some kind of a program of trainers, or you can bring from industry who can lead this initiative in the university, sir. Innovation is such an important thing in the time to come. If the universities, if they don't imbibe to the research, innovation, entrepreneurship, startups, I think they will not be able to sustain and meet the national expectations. So we need to build that kind of a cult in these universities by bringing people from industry and who, as you rightly said, who have passion for that subject. That is what I request you to you, sir. Kindly think and see how best we can introduce that kind of a cult of people in these universities who can take innovation as their passion and promote that.
Dr. Purushottam ji, there are faculty who are interested in innovation even amongst the existing faculty. But unfortunately, all our schemes for promotion, even for students for promotion, they are all surrounded around pure academics in terms of course subject and what is the grade that he gets, what is the mark that he gets, and we never cared for the other aspect. And that big transformation should come from the leadership, and that's why whoever is the director, principal, we have been constantly holding workshops and advocating them that there must be change in the way they look at everything. And if that change starts happening in that institution, you will see the results. There are wonderful results achieved in such institutions where leadership has taken such a key initiative. And secondly, institution is free to get people from industry, both as a regular faculty after retirement or even prior to retirement. Someone wants to quit having earned enough from the industry. Now I would like to contribute towards educational institution. That is also permitted in terms of a full-time job as well as in terms of being a adjunct faculty or a visiting faculty. I think it is the innovativeness again of the head of the institution, how he or she wants to make use of such industry support. And industry is also willing to do that. Because ultimately, industry is going to be benefited. I'll give you our own example. You know that our Dr. Abhay Jere is leading. Abhay is continuously holding workshops, seminars for leadership, and all of that is ongoing. But he himself has come from industry as a person given by the industry. We don't pay him any salary, by the way. It is on secondment. The Persistent Systems Limited is an industry which has given him. Similarly, if you know the Ramanan also, he has come from TCS. His salary is borne by the TCS. but they have contributed. So I think we have in our country some industries who are willing to give their people, who have got passion for such things, and you don't even have to pay them actually. See the result, and you can create a wonderful ecosystem out of that. If we can do it nationally through one individual and some 7-8 employees with whom we have appointed, individual institutions can draw inspiration from what we have done at the national level, at the state level, at the college level, at the university level. It is the lack of interest in doing that that is where we are having this problem. So that is why seminars such as this, and if my friend Dr. Rameshwar Rao is listening carefully, if he is able to implement some of these things also in his institution and promotes such faculty who have interest in that, I am sure there will be a transformation in this institution as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That
sir.
is what the direction should come from always in our democratic system. The direction should come from the top boss. Then people will take it seriously and try to implement, sir.
नहीं sir, actually दोनों होता है. Some directions should come from the top, but if you only give directions from the top, the problem is people will say this is dictatorial attitude, and therefore in a democratic system we should evolve, and evolution is from both bottoms up and tops down. Please understand, my experience in COAP was so enriching. I was the head, but the help which I got from my mentor, Dr. F.C. Kohli. F.C. Kohli is called father of software industry in India, the one who started TCS. Only 2.5 months back, he passed away at the age of 96. And I had constant guidance from him. Although he was such an authority on the subject as well as both education and industry, creating one of the biggest companies of the world actually, not just India. And such a man, so humble, he used to give me full opportunity to explore and give ideas. And same thing I continued with my other faculty members and students. In the beginning, in the morning when I spoke about that young student, Bhaviskar, who came from IIT Bombay and said he would like to develop a satellite. Giving that hearing to him, allowing him to do that itself is part of innovation. I think all institutions must do that. And if they start doing it, I think fundamentally we will make a complete changeover in our way we look at it. And we have seen so many gold medalists. In fact, I was also a gold medalist. But unfortunately, whatever I learned during that time and got gold medal, I couldn't do anything. It's only when I started my first job, and that too, interestingly, a job in Northeast India, in Arunachal Pradesh, I had an opportunity. That course itself was after class 10 and more emphasis on hands-on and less emphasis on your physics, chemistry, math. And that is where I found students who graduated from that institute are much more innovative than any other institution, even better than IITs. The reason is you start working by hand, you develop skill sets, and then when you learn theory along with that, you understand every nuance of that very much better. And then you start developing what change can we make in this so that it can become a better product.
So thank you, sir.
But sir, one request, Kiran, I would like to make one request on behalf of all the participants to Professor Anil. I request him to speak more in such kind of events so that he can inspire more people and many people can come to know about his experiences, his life experiences. We don't have many people of that kind of a profile. I think I request Professor Anil Saharabuddeji to speak more in such kind of events, sir. Please.
I've been doing that. Whenever I have got time after my office work, at least 4 seminars, webinars, I'm doing it every day since pandemic.
Yeah, great, sir. That is
average 4 webinars on a day. One morning today on a holidays, morning one I came here, went another place, again came back. I'm shuttling.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. Satyanarayan sir. Last question from Satyanarayan Garu, sir. So please, you can talk.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Dr. Sahasrabuddin sir.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Is he able to listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'm able to listen.
Sir, my name is Dr. Satyanarayana. I am the former Principal Director of Central Institute of Tool Design, Hyderabad. Sir, this you mentioned one word called Industry Institute and then adjunct faculty and faculty from the industry. Sir, is it really happening in all the colleges? Because what I could see here is that for the sake of, namesake, they hire the faculty, whoever is coming at a lower price, and no, they are just, managing that the faculty and claiming that they have the faculty from industry. Probably this is one thing, where our industry interaction has failed totally. Maybe one or two would have been successful, but compared to the number of colleges that are, in India, this industry institute interaction has totally failed. And now how to revamp it and how to, correct it. I just want to know from you.
Satyanarayan Garu, there are challenges. I'm not saying that everything is honky dory and fine, but unless we start pushing it on one side and encouraging on the other side, we will not be able to do all of this. So, one internship portal which we have developed already has huge number of industries whose internships are available, so that students start getting connected with industry for their internship. Once students start getting connected, we have also advocated to industries that you should in advance talk to the faculty member, their HODs, in terms of what all preparatory thing they have to do before they come. So that is how friendship between institutions and industry will grow. Of course, we may only be taking the horse to the water. Ultimately, the horse has to drink the water. We have to make provisions, we have to help them,
Just add one
we have to mentor, but ultimately they have to come forward. And if they are not willing horses, probably nothing can happen. And therefore, if they don't get accredited in the next 2 years, they are going to get closed down. So don't worry. Those who are not ready to change, the change will come in that institution.
Okay. Sir, just let me share one thing. Regarding this project works and internships, the colleges, they leave to the students. That is the botheration of the students to roam around the companies and, do you have any vacancy? I want to do internship. College has never bothered. Probably, this kind of things are to be arranged by the college. Fees is paid to the college, and the college is leaving the students on the road, and they are asking them to search for their internships. And they will be roaming here and there. They will be coming to the industries, and they are wasting their time. And ultimately, because college is not totally involved, these people have to come to the industry, take a letter from the industry, and submit to the college. Then they will say that yes, we will, give a letter. This kind of things, marketing is totally done by the students itself, not by the college. So this kind of things are to be taken care by, people like you.
Satyanarayan Garu, there are both aspects to this. One is, first of all, the college has to take a proactive role. We ask them to sign MOUs with at least 5 industries. And several of them have given fake names because we have asked for them to give the names of 5 industries with whom they have signed MOU. Can you imagine? If a college, a person who is running a college is giving such fake information, what value system are we incorporating? They could have come forward and said that we have difficulty in getting 5 MOUs with industries. We would have provided help because I have been constantly in touch with NASSCOM, FICCI, CII, all different types of industry bodies and appealing to them that they have, forget about large industries. They may be few in number, like Maruti Udyog or Tata Motors or Tata Steel or Infosys or TCS, Wipros of the world. There are about 150, 200 big companies. And getting access to such organizations for getting internships for employment may be limited for an institution which is at a slightly disadvantaged location. So this is possible probably an institution located in Hyderabad or Bangalore or Chennai or Pune or Mumbai. But when an institution is slightly away from the main, capital or big town, the difficulty does exist. I'm aware of that. But that doesn't mean that you give fake information. So if you had said, we would have linked with the NASSCOM or FICCI chairman and said that your state division or state whatever council is there, you please attach this college with you. And some small scale industries, it need not be a large industry. They would have a lot of MSMEs. So at least instead of 5, make 10 MSMEs as your partners. And if you do that, I think the institution can start changing itself. And this, as I said again, we can take water to the horse, but I cannot make the horse to drink water, and such horse will die. And I have no empathy for them. if they are not able to do what we have asked for them to do, if I am ready to help, and if you don't want to take help in terms of mentorship program, in terms of facilitation for internship, our internship portal has today about 1.5 lakh internships. So students, if the college is not providing, they can directly onboard onto our internship portal and also get internship. And lastly, I have nothing against some institutional students also going and looking for internship. I will tell you the reason. This is another way of creating all-rounded personality. Suppose a student has to struggle to get an internship. He will struggle, he will know how to communicate, how to get effectively. I've seen students writing to several professors of IITs for internship, they do not get it. But 1 out of those 100 do get it. How do they get it? They have written a charming email where they have projected their personality in a manner that, with the interest of the faculty being matched with my interest, the faculty of IIT gets inspired. If I get some student for 2 months to work with me on an internship, I can produce a probably research paper from an undergrad student from a small town institution. I think that is where even proactively going is also fine. So that should not be that institution should shirk its responsibility. But at the same time, if students are also trying to do on their own something, it is a welcome step, because that develops their personality in a much more holistic manner.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing.
Now, without taking much time, before going out of thanks, Dr. Rameshwar, sir, would like to say anything, or let us go for the out of thanks?
Thank you very much. Now we ask the Aparajita's to say few words.
Ma'am, you can go with the
Now, Dr. Rameshwar Rao, if he is speaking, he should give commitment, having conducted this important seminar. What is he going to do in the college so that what all we discussed today he is going to implement in the next 1 year? And next year I will ask him what he has done.
Yes, sir. Sure, definitely, sir. We will set up the incubation center, sir, and also with the new technology to help the promote the startup of the units. And also we'll take up the campaign of introducing the new technologies both in academia and industry, sir. Such campaign can be 3D printing, nanotechnology, and safety engineering, and environmental engineering, energy audit, energy conservation, and water audit, and water conservation, recycling of water, and fuel efficiency technology, other space technologies, and also cyber technologies, sir, and biomedical engineering and transport engineering, sir. Definitely, we will try to start the incubation center in our Engineering Staff College of India, sir. With your help, we will do some other programs also, sir. Please kindly recognize the Engineering Staff College of India as a nodal agency for the conducting the faculty development program, sir, for colleges and all engineering, polytechnic colleges and engineering colleges in the country, sir, so that we can also facilitate the industry and institute interaction and leverage is already an existing in the interface, sir. Please help in that direction. Definitely, we will do for the betterment of the engineering society, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think I was impressed by Dr. Kiran, who has been continuously not only asking questions and on chat box continuously writing. We will continue association not only with ESCI but many other colleges.
Yes,
and people should be encouraged to participate, to really put in their effort, and together we can make it. By sitting in Delhi, I cannot do it.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
It is not you alone can do it. You have to inspire your faculty to come forward, give them responsibilities, give them accountability, as well as the autonomy. We talk about autonomy, without authority has no meaning. So similarly, accountability is also important at every level.
Sure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Really, you have given very good message, sir.
I request Ms. Aparajita Dasgupta, the faculty and controller of School of Postgraduate Studies, Engineering Staff College of India, to present the vote of thanks. Already unmuted. Just
thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one last question, if you allow me to ask.
I will allow you. And for a lady, I cannot say no.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, one last question is there, which I have actually, I'm a controller of examination for School of Postgraduate Studies. You have told one very, very effective thing, sir, that is the innovation and creativity in examination, sir. Mm. So I know some foreign universities, they are actually doing the assessment mode of examination. They don't go with the descriptive mode of examination. They give different merits to the different level. So sir, anything AICT is doing to train us so that assessment mode, whatever the changes we are looking for, any the toolkits we are going to get, so that merit, then distinction and innovation and creativity, if we can get it, then it will be more effective.
Madam, I'm very sorry. That means your institution head has to now take responsibility. We have been advocating that there are, full, sometimes 1 day, 3 day, 5 day workshops on examination reforms conducted
I have
by.
attended, sir. I have attended, but
So that was
the
meant for
innovation
all.
part.
That was meant for all teachers, and whoever has learned that, we have been asking them to produce question papers based on such, ideas which have been given in that workshop, and we are putting them on our website after vetting them. Those questions or question papers which we feel are of the right kind, we are putting them based on Bloom's taxonomy of understanding for critical thinking, analytical ability, creativity. Such question banks we are creating so that new ideas. See, we are a big country. In fact, the number of questions that can be created in India can supply to the whole world. Why are we looking at USA? We can create questions which can be used by USA also. So therefore, it is our faculty members, once trained, you attempt at it. You may not be successful in the first attempt, never mind. Try again, another one. People will say this is also not good. So, okay, third one. So, if you keep doing that, in about a year's time, our faculty will be well versed with what is the nature of question we have to do in our own discipline. If we are a civil engineer, what should be asked? Mechanical engineer, what should be asked? Chemical engineer, what question will be more suitable? And that question bank, even one should look at other subject question papers also. We'll get cross-disciplinary ideas also out of that. And if you start attempting at it, I will say every center, every college will become a hub of innovation in not only setting question papers, and this question paper will give them new ideas for students. In fact, many things we learn after the exam is over. Because in the before exam, if you look at all the students, whatever is there in the curriculum, we will all mug it up and then omit it. But at the time of examination, till then we are under pressure. After the pressure is released, then we start thinking on that topic. Or in mechanical engineering, theory of machines, this was the question and I simply answered. But there are so many applications of this which I had never thought of. So it is basically an afterthought. But if the question paper is made even much more, what we say, self-reflecting, probably much more innovation starts spurting out of our education system. So
Yes.
thank you for that question, and you are a great, people who should be doing it. We are all waning out. We are all on the way out now. So people who are young, they should take this mantle forward and create such enthusiasm amongst our students. Thereby, we will create a new India, a new India which will show the whole world the light. That is our philosophy.
Yes, sir. I would like to submit, sir, before the AICT formation, Institution of Engineers India was the only regulatory body in the country before AICT formation, and we were the first to accredit this IIT Kharagpur also. So thank you. With this, I would like to request Ms. Aparajita ma'am to present the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. I am doing it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I would like to give a vote of thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Aprajita Dasgupta. I feel honored and proud to have the opportunity to present vote of thanks on national webinar on leadership in higher education to promote innovation and startup culture with college and campus. I would like to thank our dear director, Dr. G. Rameshwar Rao sir, IEI Chairman and Director is key. Without his guidance, this program wouldn't have been possible, sir. Thank you. Next, I would like to thank Dr. S.N. Rao, FIE, Chairman, Governing Council, ESCI. He has taken out his valuable time and given us insight about the technical education. Next, I would like to thank our President, Engineer Narendra Singh, FIE, President IEI. He has given an inaugural address and opening remarks on this seminar. And next, I would like my heartful thanks to our guest, chief guest, Professor Anil D. Sastrabuddhe, Chairman AICT, New Delhi, to give, he has given lot of insight, innovations, creativity, and I also got the idea about examination, and he has shared his life experience, sir. Thank you for participating and giving his valuable information to this webinar. Next, I would like to thank our expert speaker, Dr. Kalyan Chakrabarti, Dr. Natarajan sir, who has posed very, very vital questions as well as other faculty members. Thank you, all the speakers, all the participants for attending this webinar. Last but not the least, I would like to thank you, faculty members, participants, budding engineers who has taken out their valuable time and attended this national webinar where we have got a lot of insight about AICT, different techniques, different reform, new education policies, what they are bringing to us, and it will be enlightening our new generation as well as the present generation's budding engineers, so that they will be having lot of ideas. The new policies are going to help us and our students to means multidisciplinary areas which we can study. At last and not the least, our FDP cell, Engineer Sai Kishore, who has conducted this webinar. Thank you one and all for attending this program. I am highly, immensely delighted to be a part of this program. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. So let us raise our foot to the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. So please write to us with any queries if you have on the mail which is kept on the chat window, fdp@escfyd.org. Thank you. Thank you all for your active participation.
Thank you very much, Sai Kumar sir. Professor ML Sai Kumar sir. Kishore, Sai Kumar sir unnadu ikkada.
Yeah, already unmuted, sir. Unmute chesam. And click cheyale, sir. Sir, you can please unmute yourself at your side. So please unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, how are you, sir?
Fine, fine. Thank you, sir.
అనుకున్నాం సార్ మీరు అడగలేదు సార్ ఉన్నప్పుడు.
Morning, I had a webinar, so I was busy in that and just joined late.
Okay, okay. Anyhow, sir, thank you, sir, for joining.
Thank you, thank you.
Srinivas Rao also joined, Ramanjana sir, and all our Okay. Sir,
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Kalyan
sir.
Chakravarti and Kiran Chakravarti. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Kalyan sir, thank you. Dr. Natarajan sir, thank you for being the speakers for the day. Thank you all. Thank you all the
You say
participants.
thanks to Ratnam Mahesh.
Yes, Ratnam sir, thank you very much. Mahesh sir, thank you so much for supporting this event. Thank you very much. And we are ending with the meeting for the day. Thank you for all your support in making it a grand success. Thank you, Dr. Kiran sir.
Thank you and welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Hearty congratulations.
Thank you so much. And this video is kept on the YouTube, sir. If you would like to have a look, the YouTube link will be shared to you. Thank you all. Thank you very much. We are ending with the meeting. The permission of the speaker as well as Dr.